I choose standalone because it's about workflow, removing distractions and things that interrupt workflow, just having a tactile approach and everything that's already pretty much set to go as far as what functions and knobs and all that and the touchscreen. Everything is like right there in front of me. What's up, everyone? Welcome back. This is Lifted Noise. My name's Raul. I wasn't going to do this Maschine Plus video. I really wasn't. I was trying to refrain from it. But I thought to myself, this is really relevant to what I do. So if you've been on my channel, if you've seen some of my content, if you know me a little bit through that, then you know that I do solely MPC standalone videos without the software, right? So I never use the software ever. I've used it in the past. I've owned a Renaissance, but I don't use it anymore. Now that I have the fully standalone, I don't mess around with that. So, and that's a preference. I wanted to make a video about what standalone means to me and why I choose to use standalone. I guess it's kind of now becoming a wave, and maybe it was just that, you know, with the advent of the technology that we have and the capabilities, we saw a lot of controllers coming through. You know, Maschine obviously has a form factor and a design inspired by the MPC, and then we saw that Akai did that with the Renaissance in the studio. They followed along with Maschine, so the technology was there. So maybe it's a stretch to say that this is a wave. Maybe well, what is a wave? It goes up and down, so you got changes. Maybe it's a trend, maybe it's just the way things are going. So there's always got to be options, and I think that the fact that Maschine came out with a standalone is actually really intriguing. You know, I've been watching a lot of the content that came out about the Maschine. Been jumping into live streams while I'm working and just kind of hearing about people's opinions about it and hearing and reading some of the comments. And I think it's an interesting subject. There's been a lot of kind of resistance. People just thinking that it's kind of a bad move for Maschine. It's overpriced. There's a lot of things I disagree with. A lot of it is kind of the same stuff that we heard about with the MPC ONE. Oh, it doesn't have a battery. That was one of the things with the MPC ONE, and I was even guilty of that. But at this point, I've kind of changed my tune as far as the battery thing is. It's not even a standard that even exists beyond the MPC Live. If you really think about it, we have like one sampler. I can't really think of any others that exist that have a battery built in, like a lithium rechargeable battery. So the MPC Live is like the only one that exists. And pretty much the statement saying that, you know, it's not really standalone if it doesn't have a rechargeable battery in it, it's not even true. It can't be a true statement, because you would have to remove pretty much all the other samplers in existence and say those aren't standalone because they don't have a battery. So my MPC ONE isn't standalone. Your MPC X isn't standalone. If you ever own an MPC 1000, 2500, 63,500, well, 500, I guess it's standalone because you can put batteries in it, right? But no, that's not what defines standalone. What defines standalone really is just the kind of self-contained ability to produce music without using a computer. So I don't know if you could, this statement or the term standalone even existed. It must have not existed before computers, because it just wasn't a concept to have, you know, MIDI controllers connected to a computer to make music. So of course this word is kind of a newer word, probably within the last, I don't know, I would have to make a guess, 20 years. I don't know how long we've been, 20, 15, 20 years. You know, standalone means a lot more than just not being connected to a wall. That's like a brand new standard. So until we see like all samplers exclusively having a battery in it, you can't really make that statement. It's kind of a fallacy. So it's not a good argument. And at this point, I really don't care about the battery. Before I thought I did, but it all depends on your situation, what you're trying to do. So my preference, the reason why I go standalone, is because I don't want to be tethered to a computer. There's so many other reasons, I think, and I kind of got to collect my thoughts of why I prefer standalone, because it's been such a long time since I've used a computer to create music. It's been a few years, probably, at least. So I've used a lot of different software, and I think it's great. So it's not the software itself. What it truly is about is it comes down to workflow, you know, and having something that has dedicated buttons that's already ready to go right in front of you just the tactile approach to it just feels a lot better. It feels like it flows better. So this is all an issue of workflow for me. But to go into more depth is just kind of maybe the more obvious things, or the obvious things, is that when you're at a computer, your computer isn't solely dedicated to just making music. Now you may be a person that has a computer that's solely dedicated for music. This is just my room and I make beats in it and I do YouTube videos. So in that case, your computer you probably use it to watch Netflix, to go on social media for no reason but to scroll. But just in general, like there are so many more distractions. So that's another reason. That's still, in a way, that's a workflow thing, because that can really disrupt your workflow. Just being distracted by the so many other things that you can do with a computer. And yeah, that comes down to probably just self-discipline, but I would admit it, that's my preference. I'd rather remove the distraction for myself and just be centered around equipment that is just solely made for making beats. But another reason for me personally is I've had issues, just like communication issues with different hardware and different software, and just like errors and that kind of thing that can just be frustrating. It's like, when it comes down to it, like I was saying, this is all about workflow. Removing distractions and things that interrupt workflow, just having a tactile approach, and everything that's already pretty much set to go as far as what functions and knobs and all that, and the touchscreen, everything is like right there in front of me. It's more immersive. Yeah. I think my last reason for wanting to be standalone and why I choose that is because of limitations. I prefer limitations. And then again, this is still a workflow thing. So I prefer the limitations of something that is standalone, because when it comes to like software, and let me paint a picture at where I was at, I couldn't even name, like, on my MacBook, which no longer works now, so I have no other choice but just to be standalone. But on that MacBook, I had Native Instruments Complete, but I had Logic on there, I had Pro Tools on there, I had like light version of Ableton, I had Reaper on there, I had some plugins that I got. You can get many free plugins. But my point is, and now I didn't name now everything that I had on my laptop as far as like software goes for audio. Just way too many options, too many things that do the same thing, you know what I mean? And just way too many options of sounds, and then the possibility to go on and go find more sounds when you're looking for a certain sound, rather than just taking what you have and making a sound out of what you have with those limitations and using your creativity. So I feel like that's one of the biggest things too, is the limitation that creates the creativity, that forces you to make a choice quicker. You know, when you have less choices, your workflow is going to be faster and you're going to be challenged more. And I feel like your skill level will be improved from these challenges. So those are the reasons why I choose standalone. I think that's pretty much it. And those are important to me. So do what's best for you. That's basically what I wanted to talk about as far as, you know, this video. I don't know if I want to go too much into the specs of the Maschine Plus. One thing is that I've been hearing around a lot, is that it's not priced right. And I disagree. I think people are saying that it should be more priced to compete with the MPC ONE. We're not really thinking about any of the other options out there, because these are the most similar options, so it's natural to just compare the two, right? They look the most alike, and they're probably catered to an audience of people who are going to be doing maybe similar things, but there are some differences there, right? Comes down to workflow. I think it's awesome. If I got to convince myself every day that I don't need it, I surely don't need it. But I've told myself in the past, man, if Maschine was only standalone, then I would fuck with it. So I really would. So we'll see. Only time will tell if I can have the discipline not to buy a Maschine Plus. And I think the audience for this are people like me. I'm exactly that person. And I think Maschine has a pretty cool and interesting workflow, as I've worked with Maschine Micro, but never one of the flagship ones. So it's intriguing to me. The whole touchscreen thing not being there, I wouldn't miss it. I mean, the Maschine has so many knobs and buttons that are dedicated to its functions that I think that workflow is pretty interesting, and you can get a lot done, maybe even faster than having a touchscreen. But I'll never know unless I buy one. So my channel is about using standalone gear, hopefully about, you know, making the best of what you have. So I would say the Maschine Plus would be for someone who does what I do. And then not solely, but from my perspective, if it's gonna be the center of your studio and probably the only piece that you have, you know, along with the keyboard, what else do you need? If you got instruments in there, you got inputs to sample, you know, it's pretty much all you need. The one thing that I do see advantage of so far with the MPPC, but mind you that my knowledge of Maschine in its current state is kind of limited, is that I'm about to jump into recording vocals, and I have 8 tracks with the MPC. I don't think Maschine has. I was looking into it to see if they have audio tracks, and I don't believe they do. But I did see a hint of something about something coming as far as an arrangement view, which we've been wanting here with the MPC. So I don't know if that also includes audio tracks with Maschine or not. So don't quote me, or you can't quote me on the fact that I don't know. I know next to nothing about Maschine in its current state. Just what it, you know, whatever. Let's leave it at that. So we'll see. Please do share in the comments the reasons why you guys enjoy being standalone, whether you're interested in the Maschine Plus or not. You can drop that in the comments as well. You guys will see soon whether I'll be picking that up or not. Right now, my mind's telling me no. So, but my heart. Yeah, but cool. Thanks for joining me, everybody. Till next time, stay humble, lift noise. God bless.